Now, was there any backlash from the venue and people who had bought tickets for 151?
Yeah, I mean, there's backlash. There's backlash from the entire MMA world. There's people that, book plane tickets, hotel, everything, and they buy the tickets for the UFC, planning on seeing John Jones and Dan Henderson. Now
you must have
they don't get
colleagues,
that.
contacts that are out because of this.
Yeah, for sure. And not only that, but it's the rest of the card. Now, every other fighter that was on that card that was supposed to go down in 6 days' time, they're all expecting to get paid on September 1st. Their fights are being moved, some to October, some to November. Some have not even been rescheduled yet. So all the fighters on the card are kind of left in a bad situation, not getting a paycheck on September 1st. These guys have families. I mean, the repercussions are everywhere. You have to
pay your trainers and so forth. You get ready for it, and you hope to be paid right after the fight.
That's another thing. A training camp costs money. You pay your trainers, you pay your training partners, you pay your gym, you do all these things, and when you don't have the payoff of the fight, you're in a financial hole.
So So do you think the UFC could have handled this better, or what should they have done if they didn't, in your opinion?
I would have liked to have seen the UFC throw the entire card for free on free TV instead. Just have the card without Jones, have Jake Ellenberger and Jake Huron be the main event, have it on FX. They were going to have all the prelims on FX anyways. What's another hour or two on FX to air the main card? It's really 4 more fights.
Good advertising,
you tack
goodwill
on to the broadcast.
Yeah.
I say why not? I would have liked to have seen them put it on FX. I would have liked to have seen them have a deeper card so that they didn't have to cancel the show.
Chatting with Dave Simon, talking about the UFC 151's cancellation, as well as now the big winners, though, Dave. Toronto, nice build-up to it, controversy. People are now all eyes on the UFC 152. Question for you, Dave. Was anything already preconceived for 152 that was being bumped out now that Jones is fighting there instead?
You see, it's kind of a positive situation here. This is the light at the end of the tunnel. It's Joseph Benavidez versus Demetrius Johnson were supposed to be the main event to crown the first ever 125-pound champion. Now the main event will be John Jones versus Vitor Belfort. No fight is getting bumped from the card, but BJ Penn and Rory McDonald were supposed to be fighting on this Toronto card. Rory McDonald got hurt. That fight's been moved to December on Fox. So the Toronto card was out a big-time fight, out a BJ Penn, Rory McDonald fight. That's blockbuster stuff. So now they get a John Jones versus Vitor Belfort fight, which is good news for me because I was heading down to Toronto anyways for UFC 152. Now I get a little bit of a bonus. I get to see John Jones and Vitor Belfort. Despite the fact that fight doesn't really make a lot of sense, I still don't mind seeing it.
So tell me about that. What kind of fight are we going to see, and does Belfort have a shot?
I mean, Belfort is a guy who's been fighting at 185 pounds. He's coming off 2 straight victories over Anthony Johnson and Yoshihiro Akiyama. He was supposed to fight Alan Belcher on October 13th in Brazil. It doesn't really make a lot of sense, other than the fact that Vitor Belfort was the UFC light heavyweight champion in the early 2000s. Like 10 years ago, he was the champion. He beat Randy Couture, but then lost to Randy Couture in his very next fight, losing the title. So I guess that's why they're throwing Belfort out there. But to me, the fight doesn't make a lot of sense. Belfort is a guy with good striking, but I don't think he's going to be able to come in anywhere close to the range of John Jones.
So what are you looking at, a first-round knockout even? Or
yeah, that's what I'm looking at. I think it's going to be John Jones knocking Belfort out in the first round. And, when I'm thinking that 3 weeks away, 4 weeks away from the fight, it's just not something that I'm that excited in. It should be a highlight reel finish, though, for Jones, and that's what I think all the MMA world will be expecting. And if he delivers that, maybe he can win back some fans that he's no doubt lost through this whole thing.
Really? You think it's really hurt him?
He was not the most popular guy to begin with. People didn't like his attitude. People thought he was cocky. I had no problem with him. He then had a DUI earlier this year, and this was like a couple weeks after him saying in an interview, "You will never see me falter. You will never see me have a DUI." And then he has one a couple weeks later. And, just certain things are going badly for John Jones publicly. In fact, his publicist quit a couple weeks ago, according to a report from Kevin Ioli, who's a great writer. Apparently, John's publicist has quit because they were frustrated that Jones just didn't have the ability to deal properly with the media. So things are falling apart around John Jones in certain respects.
Could we see any kind of shocking upset, or like you said, it's just going to be quick?
I don't know. I mean, the John Jones of 2011, I would say for sure he's going to crush him first round. But John Jones didn't have a great performance against Rashad earlier this year when he won a 5-round decision. He's had the DUI now. He's had all these problems with Dana White and the UFC. He's had his opponent changed. He's had the fight rescheduled. I don't know what's going to happen, but he's definitely going to have to answer a lot of questions on September 22nd. He's going to have to deliver impressively, I think, to win back at least a portion of the audience.
Well, it's going to be an interesting underdog story. There's no question about that. He's going to have some people rooting against him and for various reasons, and Toronto certainly the big winner there as UFC 152 set to go down in September. It is Game Points here on TSN 990. That was Dave Simon. You can check out more from Dave on ringsidereport.net and, of course, right here on TSN 990 Wednesdays and Friday nights.